Okay, and here we go again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to your favorite podcast.
Riffin with Griffin, yeah.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Yeah, yeah, yeah! Riffin with Griffin! Whoa, 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 whoa! It's Riffin with Griffin! Whoa, whoa, whoa! Yo, welcome to Riffin with Griffin, and we're back again, and I'm going to be talking about my trip to Arizona. Got some thoughts about the world, and, maybe some bitching like I normally do. But once again, thank you for being here live, and I love y'all, and welcome back to Riffin with Griffin. Whoa, 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 whoa. Riffin. Yeah. Woo. Here we go. Live in full effect, man. Live in full effect. Riffin with Griffin. This is how I do it. I needed to do it like this way, just because I've had just a very long weekend. Had a long ass weekend. I had to do an audition. I had to do the traveling. Everything was new. So I just wanted to tell y'all how it was. I went to Arizona, Phoenix Stand Up Live, and I just want to tell you everything that happened, all my thoughts about traveling. And since this is my first time going on the road in a year, excuse me, it was a lot. So welcome to the show. I know you guys are trickling in one at a, slowly at a time, but this is how I do my podcast. For you people listening, you're going to be listening later. Thank you for listening, and you guys always thank you for watching. Make sure you check me out on Erik Griffin Gaming. That's on Twitch. I'm on there most days, mostly every day. I don't really have a set schedule, and on Saturday mornings I play with the fans. I do private matches with friends and fans. So if you're interested in that, come on out and check that out on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So I do that. So anyways, and again, like I said to everybody, welcome to Riffin with Griffin. I got the chat open, so I'll try to look at that as much as I can. And I just wanted to come on and really just tell you about recap. But before I even do any of that kind of stuff too, I also want to say this. This is live in full effect. It's March 1st. I want to say happy birthday to my beautiful fiance, Rachel. She turns 32 today. So happy birthday to her. 22. She looks 22, 32 today, but looks 22. So kudos to her and to me. Just kidding. Not really. But so if you guys have a chance, an opportunity, if you really want to help her out, go out and give Rachel a follow. She has her own channel now. I'll put the link in the description down there later, but just help Rachel out because she's trying to get a little vlog going where she wants to. It's not necessarily a podcast. She just likes to do little videos about how to put on her face routine or just whatever's on her mind because she just wants to, do because she watches a lot of those blogs about purses and all this kind of stuff. And she was like, oh, I want to do that too. And I was like, I support it. I'm encouraging of it. But so happy birthday to her. And if you want to reach out to her on her Instagram, please, just send her a little thing. Happy birthday. She'd really like that. So happy birthday out there to Rachel. So I'm doing this live. And when you do it live, it makes me really take a pause and try to be more thoughtful about the things that I say and the things that I talk about and how I talk about it because, it's live. You know what I mean? A lot of times you can be on a podcast. I've done podcasts, where when I'm done, the host will say, hey, is there anything you want me to take out? And I'm just like, usually I'm like, not really. I mean, I like to say what I feel in the moment. Yeah, but there is times, especially as a comedian, you just say some off-color thing. And then in this day and age, you say something wrong. The next thing you know, everybody's on your case because they take everything out of context, But anyways, I actually want to talk about that kind of stuff later. So is what it is. So let's just go with, I went to Stand Up Live in Phoenix. And this is the first time I've, traveled, been in another city in an entire year, man. It was something else. So first I had this like really early flight. I fly United Airlines, you know, and so I'm packing. And then I realized when I was packing, man, I was like, damn, I don't even know how to travel anymore. I used to have it down to a science. You know what I mean? You get it down to a science where you have your toiletries, you have all this stuff. But during the pandemic, I actually moved. So everything's all over the place still. And, you know, I haven't even thought about like packing a suitcase or how I pack a suitcase. So I had to get all my electronics together. And then I had to like pack my Xbox. I had this little travel kit that I got from Games, Gaems. Shout out to them because they gave me a free travel kit. And it's dope. It's like this. I wish I had a picture of it ready to go, but it's like, it's great. It's got a built-in monitor. So the Xbox or PS4 sit inside of it. You know, then you open it up like a suitcase, and then there's a monitor right there, and you just plug in and you know, hook up the internet, you plug in and play. When I'm in the airport, I have a long layover. Before, I would open up my Xbox and I'd be playing in the airport. You can hook up to Wi-Fi, you can hook up to, you know, and a lot of times with these phones, you can use, because if you're doing it for a short time, like, you know, 30, 40 minutes, you can use your phone's Wi-Fi connection. So anyway, so I had to pack my Xbox. I got to pack my iPad, my laptop, because I'm going to try to stream onto Twitch while I'm in the hotel. So I had to have all that stuff. And then I got to pick my outfits that I'm going to wear. I'm terrible at that. And now Rachel's there trying to tell me how to pack, you know. She looks in my bag and she's like, how many underwears are you taking? And I'm like, I got 4. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's all I need. She was like, only 4? You need your day underwear, then you need your night underwear. And as a dude, I'm like, no, you got your Thursday underwear, and let me let you know, Thursday underwear, it trickles over into Friday, because if you sleep in it and you wake up in it, you walking around a little bit before you take a shower or not. So she like put more underwear in my bag. So now I had like extra underwear to go on the thing. So it was an early flight. We had to get to the airport by like 7 a.m. No, 6. Actually, it was like, we had to get there like 6:30 or something like that. So I haven't been to LAX in a while, and it's like different. They're building stuff. And then I'm also, again, I'm scared about, this is my first time venturing out without having as much fear about COVID that you first had, say, a year ago. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how you can catch it. And then I'm reading these articles, like United Airlines is putting out a bunch of information. You know, they had this article about like they've done studies and tests, and it's proven that you almost have zero chance of catching COVID on an airplane because of the filtration systems. And they got the money to do that, the fancy air thing. So the air is just coming in and out. It's not like, you know, COVID sitting in the plane. I mean, you know, they say that, but you think like if there's somebody sitting next to me who actually is sick and they're like coughing, but I guess that kind of person wouldn't be able to get on the plane, or you would hope that person wouldn't get on the plane. But anyways, you know, so I felt a little nervous about that. But I get on the plane, then you have to wear a mask, and I hate wearing masks. It's uncomfortable. I got glasses. I didn't bring a face shield. I was like contemplating back and forth. Do I bring a face shield? Should I bring my face shield? You know, and you think, oh, I got to worry about that. So, you know, so I get to the airport. I get through the security. It's actually very simple. There wasn't even a lot of people there. It was just like it was before. And I'm like, I got global entry. I got, you know, TSA pre. I got clear. So, you know, I'm right in the line. I get to the thing. And then the lounge is open too. So I had enough time. So I went into the lounge. Now the lounge was completely different. Usually they used to have like buffet style, like there's some fruit, there's some oatmeal, you get your own coffee, you get all the stuff. All that stuff gone. It's all gone. To me, that's a dog and pony show. To me, that's just for optics. In California, you know, I don't know what's going on in California, but because like there was a couple that was looking there, and I said to them, well, I guess the lounge isn't worth it anymore if it's going to be like this, because to get coffee, you had to go to this woman who's sitting, you know, she's standing there by herself, you know, and you had to go and be like, yeah, can I get some coffee? You know what I mean? Can I get, and then she has to get it for you, and it's all sectioned off. Then she gets you the coffee. Then I was like, can I get a breakfast? Then she said, well, we have breakfast burritos, but I can go get it for you. And it was like this weird plastic. It was terrible. And I said to this couple, I go, well, this looks like a dog and pony show now. I mean, because they say, yeah, because we just came from another place, and it's regular. It's just regular. You go in, you get what you want, that kind of stuff. So I just go, well, you know, like what's right? You know what I mean? Because as these numbers are going down, and a lot of it has to do with, you know, the vaccine is out there, like, and actually because they've given the vaccine to the people that are most at risk, Funny how all the numbers are going down. Everything's going down. You know, even though some places are handling it one way in terms of like being open or closed, and then other places like, so does it even have to do with any of that stuff? It's just very strange to me. It's frustrating. It's annoying. I'm not a scientist. I don't have all the facts. I don't know. Most of you aren't scientists, don't have all the facts. People just have what they hear and they have their own opinion, you know. But my opinion is like, I don't know why California has been shut down the way it's shut down. I don't think it's done any more or less than it would have done just like every other place. But anyway, so I get to my gate. I get on the plane. I actually got upgraded, but it was a little plane because it's just an hour flight to Phoenix. So I was sitting in a like it was like one seat A, and then it's like B and C is they're together, but my seat was by itself. So I'm sitting by myself. I got my mask on. It was fine. I got used to it. Get to Phoenix. The guy's there to pick me up. He hits me up, and you know I go. We get in the car. We get to the hotel. Once I checked into the hotel and I was in the hotel, I was like, oh, okay, this is normal. Everything's fine. You know, I was like, okay, here we are. So then this is where it got weird for me because this is now I'm in a city I haven't been out of LA in a year. I can count on my hands probably how many times I've gone out. I mean, you know, it's a handful of times that I've even gone out in a year. You know, I've only done like 5 or 6 shows. You know, even when we go, I order everything. You know, so maybe I've gone out in a year, maybe 25 times actually, if I really think about it. So it's more than my 2 hands. You know, but still, that's not a lot of times in 365 days to go out. You know, so now I'm out. You know, I got my mask on, and then I was like, I want to get something to eat. So I'm in Arizona. The restaurants are open. You know what I'm saying? So I go down to this restaurant outside the hotel, very nice hotel too, right next to the club, you know, and the club's in this sort of downtown area. They got like bars and restaurants and everything's like, you know, everything's open. You know, people are sitting outside, people are sitting inside, but they're safe. Everybody's got their mask on. The things are pulled apart. I mean, to me, it's just, this is common sense. Yes, we could still open a restaurant. We're just not going to have people sitting on top of each other. You know, like what the fuck are we doing in California? Like, it makes no sense to me why we're just ruining people's lives for optics. And that's what it is, guys. It's for optics. It's so the Twitter mob and all the people that think they know everything doesn't get upset. So this is the way we do it. So we have to make everybody suffer to make these idiots happy, right? So, because to me, it's like, okay, let's be safe. Let's make sure high-risk people are quarantined or that they have their own time to go to the store like we were trying to do, or like, you know, let's make sure people that are at high risk, let's make them make sure they're okay. But for everyone else, it's like, yeah, we can open a restaurant, just spread things apart. Yes, we can go to stores. Yes, we can go to outdoor comedy shows. You know what I mean? Yes, you can go do things. You know, yes, you can go to Dodger Stadium and watch a game because you got people spread out, or like all the things that we've come used to. Let's just, you know, let's do those things. But of course, we didn't do that stuff. You know, so now here we are, right? Anyway, so I walk down, I go into the restaurant, and man, I tell you, I felt like I was institutionalized, you know? I felt like California has me. I got Stockholm syndrome with California, too. It's trying to defend California. Like, well, you know, California, they bad. But really, I felt like Morgan Freeman in the Shawshank Redemption. You know, when he finally got released from prison and he's working at the supermarket and he don't even know how to act. Can I go to the bathroom, boss? That's how I felt in this restaurant. I had my mask on and everybody else got their mask off in their seats. I'm saying the staff got their mask on and I'm like, I don't even know. Can I sit over there? And, you know, and I said, you know, man, I went into the bathroom and I carved on the bathroom ceiling, "Get busy living." That's just for you Shawshank people. So I ate. And then I felt like, wow, this is different. This is cool, you know. Now, the whole time, I've been nervous about doing shows because I haven't done a long set and I got to do an hour. And my boy Michael Yo is on the show. He lives in Vegas now, so he's really close to this. It's an easy flight for him, and he just wants to come and work some stuff out. He headlines his own shows, but because he lives so close, he just wants to pop onto shows and work out his material. I totally get that. So he popped on the show. So we're going to do a 2-man show. He does about 20, 30, and I was going to do an hour. And I'm sitting here like, and I remember the first time I ever did an hour. It was in Butte, Montana. Butte, Montana. I was working for this guy named Tribble. His name is David Tribble. And he had this Montana run where you just go to Montana and you drive all over Montana and do these shows. So when you're featuring, it's a 2-man show. You do like half hour as the feature, and then you do an hour as the headliner. That's how they used to do it. You would drive around, you drive hours every day to get to these different cities on Montana. So I remember the first time I did an hour, I wasn't ready to do an hour. I knew I wasn't ready to do an hour. So I'll never forget it. I walked up on stage and I said to myself, well, here we go. And then I just, I did it. You stretch, you work out all the jokes you can, but it actually, if I remember correctly, it wasn't my best set ever, but after I was done, I was like, oh, I could do this. So I have all these feelings going on. I got my notebook. I've been writing for 4 or 5 days, just in preparation of thinking like, oh man, I should talk about this. I'm forgetting how my set goes. I'm thinking like, oh man, I haven't really thought about this. It's not like riding a bike. You do forget the little nuances of your jokes, the little inflections that make your joke okay. So so then Michael's on stage, he's doing his thing. I'm pacing in the green room, thinking about what I need to think about. And I go out, and it's a nice crowd on Thursday, but it's not sold out, And then I just went out on stage, and I have my notebook there too. I told him, I prefaced it. It's like, hey guys, this is my first time being out of town in a year, and blah, blah, blah. And then by the end of that set, man, it was as if I had never left. I just felt so good. It was cathartic. It was like, I was like, yeah, baby, I still got it. I was strutting around the stage, doing crowd work, doing jokes, new jokes that I just came up with that I wrote. I'm working them out. And I was like, all right. I was like, yeah, baby, got it done, And then I felt just great after that, Now, I'm walking into the restaurant. I know what I do. You get over to the restaurant, take your mask off, you order your food. It was just normal for me at that point, And then I do the Friday shows, and they're packed. They're practically sold out, And I do the shows, and then, it's great. I'm working this stuff out. I'm trying to work out this material. Now, the thing about what I'm going to get into now is like something did happen while I was there. People forget that I'm just working out material. And look, we all, including myself, we're not as brilliant as we think we are. We're also not, we don't always communicate or articulate our points as well as we think they are in our head. Because in your head, you have all the details. In your head, you know what you're trying to say, and in your head, it makes sense. We don't always have the words constructed in a sentence properly to make people hear us and understand. So a lot of times with a comic, with a comedian, we're on the road because we're trying to work out the best possible way to say this to get our point across. And, like I say, sometimes we fail. So I am working out a bunch of material. And the way I do comedy is I really like to attack both sides. I like to see both sides of an argument. Example would be, I'm not just going to be up there talking about Republicans, or like, I'm not going to be up there being like, Trump sucks, Trump sucks. I might be up there and be like, yeah, Trump sucks, but Hillary Clinton sucks too, and this is why. I'm going to do that. I like to pick out both sides because I do like especially when a conservative Republican type person comes up to me after the show and they say that to me, they go, I appreciate that you talked about both sides, because a lot of things are one-sided. But, that being said, though, even still, you're going to say things and people are going to be upset. There's always going to be a butt of the joke. Okay. And the butt of the joke sometimes doesn't like getting slapped. Or sometimes when it gets slapped, they're going to be like, ooh, I like that. Oh, I get it. Oh, that was good. Sometimes they're going to be like, hey, I didn't like that at all. It's just the nature of comedy. That it is what it is. So that being said, I have jokes. The premise of the joke is basically like, I just want to normalize things, and I don't care the way the media makes it feel like we're supposed to care about certain issues. Like, for instance, being gay. Like, I don't care. Like, if you're gay, I don't care. No one should care is the point I'm trying to make in this material. It's like when somebody says, hey, did you hear that so-and-so's gay? The answer should be so. Like, we need to get to a point in society where we could be like, who cares? Why are you bringing this up? Like, what does it matter? You know, I'm I'm a sensitive guy. I'm in touch with my feminine side, very much so. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna get into my past. It's none of your business. Like, it doesn't mean like people's race, gender, and sexual orientation. People need to know this information so bad so they can put you in a box and tell you what you can and cannot say, or what you should and should not do based off their expectations. And I say, screw that shit. You know, I don't care. Like, sometimes this guy hit me up on Instagram one time, put this post and said, when you gonna come out of the closet? And then I wrote him back and I said, let's say I do. Why is that a problem for you? The guy erased it. He erased it because it put it back on him because he's making it a big deal. You know, when you make it a big deal. So if you're one of these people that like hates gays, you hate homosexuality, why? Why? That's on you. That's your business. Keep it to yourself. Nobody cares. Most of us don't care. Like, honestly, even if you don't have to agree with everything, but like to the point where you're like actively trying to like ruin people's life. No, I think most of us are just like, oh man, this again. You know what I mean? When something comes up, you ever find yourself thinking like that? Like, oh, okay, people are worrying about that. Like, who cares? Anyways, the point in my thing is just the jokes is just to be like, try to like, but at the same time, I have to make jokes within there. I'm going to make jokes about being gay. I'm going to make jokes about, because to prove the point, but also it still has to be entertaining. This has to be, I'm not trying to do like this right now. We're having a discussion, but I guess some people watch podcasts because they want to laugh. I need you to like, make me laugh, tell funny stories. But when I'm doing solo podcasts like this is who I am. When I go on other people's podcasts, I do find myself being more jokey or whatever, but that's, I'm going to try to work on it. I'm going to try to balance it out by trying to be like, let me be funny here too. So lighten it up a little bit. So I'm doing these jokes, but I go into a bunch of things. I'm talking about gay, but then I go into talking about being transgender and how I feel about the thing. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to go into all my jokes. It goes up and down. It's all over the place, but I'm really trying to work it out. But anyways, when I get back from the Friday shows, which I think went great, I got a great response. People are laughing. They're hitting me up like, oh, that was funny. But I got one tweet about somebody who was like, it was like one of those kind of tweets, I was so hurt and insulted by Erik Griffin's jokes, so insensitive and all this kind of stuff. Now, my initial reaction to it, I was really upset. You know what I mean? I was really upset because in my mind, I'm being supportive, even if I'm making some funny jokes that being transgender is the butt of the joke. Okay, in my mind, I am being supportive because the overall point is I have nothing wrong with this and no one should. But so when somebody attacks me like that, especially publicly, that really made me upset. Of course, I lashed out. I lashed back. Shouldn't have done that because then it was like, oh, this guy's an asshole and all this stuff. And then some, this guy's an idiot. Okay. And then I stopped responding. I responded to her and I responded to, or him. I don't even know if I think it was someone transgender, but I'm not even sure, how that goes too. Like that's another confusing thing, which is what I talk about in my act too. It's confusing for us. It's hard to like figure out. Anyway. So then some other guy he goes in and then he's like, oh, what a jerk, right? And then I respond to that guy. I'm like, you weren't even there, and then he responds with like, he was like, well, he said something like, the more you type, the more like a jerk you're being. That's not what he said, but that's what he meant. You know what? And that hit me. And so I responded again to that guy and I went, you know what? You're right. I was just upset because I feel like I'm being it's an unfair characterization. Okay. So, and then I just stopped responding to it all and I muted it all. So I don't even know what it is. I don't even see it anymore, because I just muted it all. Cause then another guy jumps in and he's like, now this guy was the idiot. Cause he jumps in and he's like, you know what? You're a hypocrite. And then he starts talking about Montez, like workaholics, like, oh, you're doing this stereotype. I actually have decided that you're racist. That's what the guy said. And that's when I checked out. Cause I was like, oh, okay. So now we're and this is what, the internet run amok is when that happens, And then it made me just think about this whole subject, man. So let's talk about this now, because this is really what I wanted to talk about on the podcast today. Sensitivity. I used to have the idea when you talk about sensitivity, you talk about cancel culture, and we talk about, oh, this generation's too sensitive. And I used to feel like that, but I have a more enlightened opinion on it right now because I realize we're all sensitive. You know, I'm sensitive. I'm a sensitive guy. Man, you know how many times I've watched the Twilight Saga? This is how sensitive I am. I love Twilight. I'm gonna just be honest right now. I love the Twilight movies. They're corny and cheesy, but they're very romantic. It's a very romantic series. I actually have read Twilight. I read it a bunch of times. I think it's like a really nice romantic story of the clash of like whatever. But I love the movies. And I love at the end of the second movie because they play that song 1,000 Years. And that is such a beautiful song. I swear to God, I get teary-eyed every time I watch the end of the Twilight, Breaking Dawn Part 2. When they're doing the recap and then like Edward and Bella are sitting in this like wheat field, you know, with like flowers. And then, you know, she you know how her mind can't be read by him. So she's practiced a way to like drop that so he can read her mind. And then they're like, I love you forever. And it's like every time I watch it, a little tear comes down my face. I love it. I love that it makes me feel that way. So anyway, this is what I'm saying. I am sensitive. So I changed my view. We're all sensitive. And it's okay that you're sensitive. I'm not mad that you're sensitive about jokes. I'm not mad that you feel. What I don't appreciate is how your sensitivity is weaponized. Because a lot of times you have an opinion. Like this woman, man, this person, let's say, you know, again, I'm probably messing that up too, so you get in trouble for that. But this person was upset about my jokes. Because you know what's missing from the internet, the tweets? Everybody should have an opinion, and it should say "to me" at the end. When we had the Me Too movement, we need to start the "to me" movement. To me. So I think Erik Griffin is a racist. To me. This shit ain't facts. It's your opinion. So, in the same thing with this person was hurt and upset about what I was saying. To them, they took it this way. It's fair. It's totally fair to feel that way. But when you then take that and put it on the internet and have all your people who weren't even there go, oh, well, it must be true. That must be. It's not like my set was publicized. If it was a special and it was for public consumption, then yes, everyone can then look at it and be like, oh, I feel this way, I feel that. And then it's like, but this is like, can we have this moment? Like, hey, walk up to me after the show. Hit me up on your own. But no, the way people do it now is they make everything facts based off their own opinion. To me. So then that's what it is. So cancel culture is basically weaponized sensitivity based off someone's own interpretation and perception. Then that is taken and it's weaponized against people. I mean, come on, man. You have to now qualify every statement. And then people like to use statements and words without details. Life is nuanced, man. Nuance is very important. You know, that's my favorite word on the podcast because it's true. Life isn't black and white, guys. It's not. Life is lived in the gray area. And things are also case by case. We live in the nuance of life. And also, we shouldn't always assume ill intent by everything people say. I don't think the first thing you should think of is, this is evil, you know? You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking at the chat right now, and here's somebody trying to make a joke. This person says, Eric reminds me of Michael Eric Dyson, except he's not smart. So, is this a joke? Like, is this person being funny? I don't know this person's intent, okay? So as a comic, I might be like, okay, very funny. But I could easily say, this person is a rude asshole who should get the fuck off my channel because they obviously don't get me. I could take it like that. I could take it as ill intent. And then I can take that statement, I could put it online. Look how rude and disrespectful this idiot is in my chat. And then I could take that and put it online, okay? And then now my fans can be like, oh man, that person's stupid. That person doesn't know what they're, and then now they attack that person and that person gets canceled because what? Because of how I feel. Or I can look at that and be like, oh, okay, maybe they're just trying to be funny, but they're just not funny. Like Rick Vo Jones, you're not funny because you wrote that in a way that it's not funny. It's actually mean. So if you're trying to be mean, you succeeded. If you're trying to be funny, you did not succeed. Okay? You're not a good joke writer. Read that sentence. Do you think that's funny? Now to you, you think it's funny. To you, in your mind, you're like, see, I don't know the context. So I'm really glad that you did this right now because I don't know the context of your terrible sentence. You just wrote that thinking it was funny to you. To me, you thought that was funny, right? But I can look at that now. I can sit here and be like, okay, I get it. Do I have to have thick skin and be like, oh, there's somebody trying to be funny. Okay, but he just didn't work. But okay, I get it. This guy's not a terrible person. All right. So that's what happened. You see what I'm saying? So this is the kind of thing that happens. So somebody says something like I have these jokes, people that didn't even hear it, people that weren't even there, they're now attacking me as if I'm a terrible person. Instead of somebody that was like working out some material and maybe it didn't hit the way I thought it was going to hit. There's nothing there. It's just all like, oh, I'm a victim. Oh no, another comic is victimizing me, right? And I'm like, nah, man, I'm just trying to be funny and maybe it didn't work, right? Like, do we have to assume ill intent at all times? But, we don't know people's whatever. Like I say, people aren't always as deep and smart as they think they are. It's like that chick that everybody canceled from Star Wars, Gina, whatever her name is. What's the lady's name? Chat, Gina, whatever. She was on The Mandalorian. Now, here's the thing with her. She made a terrible analogy in 200 characters. And then she tried to, in her mind, I'm not going to assume ill intent first. In her mind, she was trying to make a point that she didn't have enough characters to articulate or obviously the intelligence to make it work. Is she a terrible person? I don't know her well enough to say, but I can give her the benefit of the doubt and be like, you know what? I don't know if this is warranted all the attention that it's gotten. Now, the dude, Harry Caviezel, that plays Superman, he's getting flack because he dated her, right? Because now the internet has decided that she's racist. The internet has decided that she hates Jews and she's a terrible person. When I read what she wrote, I look and go, well, you missed the boat on this one. You made a terrible analogy, chalk that up to like, oops, that one didn't work well, and you move on, right? That's how I look at it because I'm a comic. I've made jokes where I go, well, you didn't get that one, you hit and miss. You move on, right? Now we can't do that. Because you're gonna get canceled. You can't just move on. You got to make sure that you're saying what you mean to say. And, it sucks. Now, again, you have to qualify everything. I am in no way supporting this woman and whatever you guys think terrible about her. That is not what I'm doing. I'm merely pointing out there is another side. There could possibly be another side. She could be a hate monger and it could be true. But we don't know from that tweet. It could be that she was trying to make a point and she used a terrible example. And because of that terrible example, she hurt some people's feelings. And because she hurt some people's feelings, she should be canceled. Now, that being said, let me bring it back to me. What does that mean for me? So this person that came to the show, I apologize to this person publicly right here. I wanted to send a message, but it's like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. But I'm apologizing because her feelings were hurt. I don't think I did anything like egregiously wrong, but I can look now, because I've actually looked at the material and listened, and I thought, you know what? And another friend of mine came to the show, and they said, well, you did say this. And I was like, I didn't say that. And I was mad because it was like, well, that's what it, and then they always say this, well, that's what it sounded like. That's what people do. Cancel culture does this. They take what you say, they translate it into what they think it means to them, and then they go, well, this is what you meant. And I'm like, that isn't what I meant. So now as a performer, as an artist, as someone that writes things on the internet, as someone that has a podcast, I can now take the time here to qualify everything that I say. So, I don't want to hear your translation. I'm telling you how the fuck I feel. I'm telling you, So it's like, I do not hate transgender people. I find the thing to be, it's a weird thing that I don't understand. And because of that, there's humor in it that can be found on both sides. And as a comedian, I'm going to go attack that. I'm not going to stop talking about it, but I am going to be more thoughtful about my words. And that's what I've looked at. I looked at the material, I wrote it down, and I thought, okay, I now can see why somebody could take it this way. So let me make sure I'm doing these jokes in a way that you understand where I'm coming from. At the end, you could be like, I don't find this funny. Or at the end, you could be like, well, I get what you're saying, but I don't agree. But ultimately, I just want you to laugh. Even if you laugh and go, ha, 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 oh, that's crazy, you're wrong. But you're laughing. So I have to achieve that. I take that responsibility for myself. And I'm going to try to do that. So anyways, this is, where we're at, man. So that's, to me, again, let me go over it again. That's what I think cancel culture is. Cancel culture is weaponized sensitivity based off people's own perception of things that may or may not be right or wrong. But they take it, they make it that, and they make it true, and then they attack. And it shouldn't work like that, There's certain words and phrases that we have in society that need details, but they're catch-all statements that need details. It needs nuanced. Let me give y'all an example. The word woke. When people say woke, I'm woke. What does that really mean? What does woke mean? So if I look on Google, let's look on Google right now and see if Google can tell us what the definition of woke is. So according to Google, it says, alert to injustice in society, especially racism. We need to stay angry and stay woke. I don't believe that definition at all, because it's not what that's what they want you to think it's about. But people use woke, here's a better one. Woke is a term that organized the United States referring to a perceived, I love that word, a perceived awareness of issues that concern social justice and racial justice. That's not how people use woke, man. People using it as a catch-all for everything. It's like when somebody says, listen, someone on either side of a subject can say they're woke. I'm going to show you right now. You go to somebody who's pro-choice. You go to somebody pro-choice. Hey, why are you pro-choice? And they say, I'm pro-choice because I'm woke. Go to somebody pro-life. Ask them, why are you pro-life? You know what they could say? It's because I'm woke. It sounds like both sides are asleep. Because you haven't explained anything. You've just used a statement that lets people fill in the gaps with their own fantasy of what they think is right and wrong. You're making yourself feel like you're right because you say, I'm woke. I've had that in a show. I've done jokes and I say to somebody, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you laughing? And the lady said, I'm not laughing because I'm woke. It's like, shut up. You ain't woke right now. So woke has been hijacked. This is what they want it to mean. They want it to be about injustice in society. They want it to be about racial injustice and all that. No, but people have turned it into woke means my side is right and your side is wrong. So because we're right, we're woke. Nah, doesn't work like that. Here's another one. So I'm saying is, so you could tell me you're woke, but the next thing you need to tell me is tell me why you're woke. Because then I can decide if I agree with you or not. And with something like abortion, you have people will have this is why I'm pro-choice, boom, 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 boom. They feel justified. You have the other side who's like, we care about life and blah, blah, blah. And all those people that feel the way they feel. So boom, 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 boom. They have their opinion and they could be like that. They could prove why they're woke. They could prove why they're woke. And then you can decide yourself with those details and information. You can go, okay, I agree with this side or that side. You know, it's up to you. Here's another statement that is a catch-all people use all the time that to me needs to be unpacked. Victim blaming. You know when people say that? You know, you say something and they go, you're victim blaming. It's like, really? Am I victim blaming? Now, what is victim blaming? What is, it's blaming, something happens to someone and you blame, you say it's the fault of the victim. So people use this as a catch-all with no details, no nuance. It annoys the shit out of me. Now, back in my day, victim blaming, and this is the best example of it, true victim blaming would be a woman gets raped and then afterwards, even in court, people go, well, what were you wearing? How were you acting? As if to say, if you dress a certain way, you're allowed to get raped, right? So that's where, to me, there was the origin of victim blaming, because that is right dead on victim blaming. You go, you did this, and that's why it happened to you, so it's your fault. But victim blaming has been hijacked. So take that, even the same example. Somebody goes to now, a college girl goes to some frat party. There's drinking and whatever's happening and all this stuff is happening. She's not even there with someone she knows, and some terrible thing happens. You hear all the details and then you say, oh man, probably shouldn't go to frat parties by yourself. Probably, moving forward, this is a terrible thing that happened. So moving forward, hey, let's learn from this. You know what you shouldn't do? Maybe don't go to frat parties by yourself. Maybe don't drink with strangers. Okay, now it gets tricky, because now someone could say, are you victim blaming? So it's her fault? And no, bitch, I didn't say that. That's not what I fucking said. We're talking about preventative for future things. So you got to qualify everything. I am in no way saying that this is person's fault. I'm just saying in the future for other people, maybe we should, take another look, because there are terrible people out there. So in the event to try to avoid those terrible people, let's make sure you're with somebody that you feel safe with. Let's make sure that you're not drinking with strangers. You have to qualify it like that. Here's an example of when we don't have to do that. You go out on the town, you drive someplace, you get hit by a drunk driver, you break your arm, and then I say to you, did you have your seatbelt on? And they say, I wasn't wearing my seatbelt. Damn. Now, is it your fault that a drunk driver hit you? Not at all. Is it your fault you broke your arm? No. Somebody else made a really terrible choice and you suffered for it. But when we say wear your seatbelt, it's so in the event you get into an accident, this seatbelt might save your life, whether it's your fault or not. That's why you tell people to wear their seatbelt. That's the analogy of you're telling a young woman or man. It's like when somebody, one of these actresses or actor, because it happens to both, are like, yeah, I went to this producer's hotel at like 9 p.m. to discuss an audition, to discuss a part, and he was inappropriate. You hear that and you go, damn, that sucks. And then you say after, well, maybe moving forward, don't go to a hotel of somebody you don't really know. Make sure it's a professional setting. And then the Twitter mob or people jump on you. The cancel culture jumps on you. Oh, you're blaming the victim. Nah, we're not blaming the victim. Okay, let's qualify it. We're basically saying in the event you might be in an accident, in the event you might run into somebody inappropriate, let's set up your circumstances so you don't ever have to deal with that. It is not your fault that there's creeps out there. In the same way, you might be a producer who's leaving town the next day. You really want to see this actress. So you hit her up. Yo, oh man, this part is perfect for you. Can you come by my hotel so we can discuss this? I really think you're perfect for the part. They have a great talk. Nothing bad happens. The chick gets the part and we move on. Other people hear about that, and then they say about that producer, ugh, why would you bring someone to your hotel? That's so inappropriate. Nah, it's not. So is he now the victim of, because he had to leave and he had no place to have this meeting? No, it's case by case. You see what I'm saying? This is details. It's the nuance. The nuance of the details. You have to listen to the whole story. Then you go, okay, you know what? This one worked out. Another one might not have worked out. But I am not blaming the victim when I say to young actor and actresses, yo, maybe it's moving forward. Let's wear our, let's wear our life seatbelt and make sure we put ourselves in a safe situation. Let's make sure it's a professional environment. You're not saying it's their fault. You see how we have to talk like this now so people can't parse your words and make them into whatever the hell they want. You know what I mean? So that's what happens. It's like there was this great documentary on Netflix. I forgot the name of it, but it was about like stories of like 3 or 4 young women who were raped by someone that they knew. It was, it's like they were 14 and the boys were like 15. It might have even been like 18, but whatever it was these terrible stories, how the boys, they didn't go to jail. It ruined these girls' lives. They had to leave their towns. It was like they were blamed. It was all this stuff, and it's like a very, interesting life study about what's happening, what happens to people in these situations where victims of rape can't come out because they feel like they're going to be, all that stuff. You know what I mean? And it's important to talk about. But you know what they glossed over? In every single case, underage drinking was involved. Every single one of them, these people were drinking and they shouldn't have been. Okay. So if I can look at that and say, hey, this is terrible. By the way, a woman should be allowed to be at a party and be blacked out drunk with her skirt over her head and no panties on, and she should be able to be safe. You know what I mean? This is not an invitation for you to, well, she's asking for it. That doesn't exist. You're just a creep if you do that. But, in a perfect society, a guy comes over with a blanket, covers her up. Sheila's drunk. And then that's the end of it. Okay. So we don't live in a society like that. We live with just creeps and people around. So we have to make sure we say to Sheila later, hey, you know what? Maybe don't drink around people that you don't know them. That's just being safe. We're not blaming her. We're just saying, let's in the future change our behavior so we can be safe. It's the same thing I thought with this documentary. Don't just gloss over underage drinking, that how it warps the mind, how it, makes you make bad choices and bad decisions. And these kind of things can happen. It's just a message to be like, that should be the message you should be telling all young people. Hey, not that, hey, if you underage drink, you might get raped. No, it's like, if you underage drink, you might not be in the right state of mind to deal with certain situations. I hate that they just gloss over this kind of stuff. So here we are. I say all that just to say, I think that we need more conversations, and we can't just take 200 characters that somebody's saying on the internet and assuming that we now know everything about this person. We know their intent. We know what they were trying to say. I think we have to be more lenient. I think we have to just back away from the internet. It's like, this is not facts. It's not law, and then I extrapolate that more when I'm talking to like comedy. If I'm just out on the road, you come to the Comedy Store when it's open and you see me, I'm working some stuff out. I'm working it out. Okay. Yes. You're entitled to have your opinion. You're entitled to be like, you need to work that more. Or, that when you were working that out, it really insulted me. That's fair. But what's not fair is to now take that, go to the internet, and be like, that person's terrible. He is the worst person in the world, and he's also racist, sexist, or whatever it is that you think. You've now made it law. You've made it fact. It's now canon, that I am that person because you think that. So I hope that we can find a way to get past all this. I think find a way to like really have an understanding of what this is, that just because somebody tweeted something, it's not law. It's not fact. It's not fact. It also doesn't mean it's fiction, but we need some details. We need some details, and we need to understand that there is nuance to life. Whew. All right, y'all. Now it's let's finish off with a little bitching with Griffin. This is my bitching with Griffin segment, and then we'll end the podcast and move on with our lives. Did y'all hear that Hasbro is making Mr. Potato Head just Potato Head? You know what? I'm going to get something. Okay, I'm back. All right. So, they are taking Mr. Potato Head and they want to make him now just Potato Head. There's only two things that make Mr. Potato Head a man. Male. The mustache and the word Mr. Mr. Potato Head doesn't have a dick. He's already gender neutral. This enough. Mr. Potato Head is gender neutral enough. All you're going to do, he don't have a dick. He's never had a dick. Gender neutral. What? What are we doing? It's like this gender neutral thing, it's always when you taking shit away from men. That's what they do. They go, well, we're going to make it gender neutral. So what we're going to do is the characteristics that make this manly or male, take them away so it can be more gender neutral. Well, you know what? We're going to take the titties off Barbie. I want the titties removed from Barbie, and let's make her gender neutral. I need the hair cut off. All right? Chop the hair down and make it short, and take the titties off, and we're just going to call them bar. So it could be male or female. Bar. You know what I mean? Like Mrs. Potato Head, by the way. What? The lips and the lashes. So now we just have a potato? You know what I mean? Like, what if I like having my Mr. and Mrs. Potato? I don't get it. But you know what they do when they take things away from women? They call it gender fluid. It's more gender fluid when women say, "Well, I don't want to have all this." I'm fluid, so I could be one or the other. But for men, it's gender new. We got to neutralize the man shit. Neutralize the man shit. I think it's ridiculous. Come on, man. Who's bothered by this? Look, I have no problem with people that say want to be neutral, want to be fluid. All right. So then we just have more than one thing now. So we have men, women, and we have people in that category. And if there's subcategories of that, that's fine with me. But there are some of us who want Mr. Potato Head. I want Mr. Potato Head and I want Mrs. Potato Head so they can be together. And I'm like, oh, Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head. This is like, I don't want Potato Head. I don't want just Potato Head. I want both potatoes. I want two potatoes. I want Mr. and Mrs. Potato, and then you bring another one in, gender fluid potato, and then they have a little family. Gender fluid Potato Head is like she's like an exchange student, or he's whoever. They are an exchange student, and they living with Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head. That's it. That's all I have to say about that, man. We have Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head, Now they're just making it potato head. And, you know, like I say, I got a problem with it. I don't agree with it. And that's within my right to not agree with it. And, you know, of course, if you want to cancel me for that, please go right ahead. But, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you again for coming to Riffin with Griffin live. Sometimes it's live, sometimes it's not, but I'm here every Monday. I have guests coming next week, so make sure you look out for that. I might have the great Jamie Kennedy on next week. He's got a movie coming out, so he's going to be promoting that. I'll be on every day doing Erik Griffin Gaming, so make sure you guys check that out. I just totally appreciate you guys coming on and watching and sharing and being a part of, you know, me just having a conversation, just having a discussion about life. You know, whether I'm right or wrong, we just having a talk, having a discussion, and I appreciate you guys being here. You know what I mean? I do appreciate you guys being here, and it is what it is. So, thank you again for watching Riffin with Griffin. Woo, woo, woo. Woo, woo, woo. Riffin with Griffin. Thank you for watching. So come in here. It's Riffin for Griffin. I got a nose problem, that's why I'm sniffing. I'm never spliffing. Sometimes I be tiffing with. People don't like what I say, but I do the shit in my own way. That's why I play. If you religious, just pray. Woo! That's that dad shit right there. All right, guys, thanks for watching Riffin with Griffin. And one more time, happy birthday to the lovely Rachel. And you guys are great. Please share, subscribe, and do all that great stuff. And I will see you next week. Thanks again.